What's up, everybody? I'm here to do another video this week, and you're going to learn a little bit more about me. Let's do it. I told you last week a little bit about why I wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I want to take this week to show you, a little bit more of who I am, introduce myself to you, tell you where I'm from, all of those things. So let's do it. I am originally from Bristol, Tennessee, and I grew up there. I really grew up there all the way up until college. I played baseball as a kid all the way up through high school. I grew up in church. I did all those things that probably a normal kid did, and nothing too special, right? But I lived in Bristol, Tennessee. Bristol is actually a really cool place. There's a Tennessee side, and then there's a Virginia side, and you actually put those two together. There's a street that splits the states. It's called State Street. How ironic, right? How creative, right? But it's an incredible place. That's right where downtown is. It's such a cool environment. I love being able to go back to Bristol when I can. I currently live in Knoxville, Tennessee, which is only 2 hours down the road, and I'm a huge Tennessee fan, so that's really nice for me. Not always nice during football season, but it is what it is, right? But I live in Knoxville. I go to Johnson University, and it's such an incredible school. I love everything about it. I'm a senior. I'm about to graduate in May, and then who knows what's going to happen from there. As I was growing up, I had a grandfather that was Ross. He was a pastor for 50 years in Bristol, and his father-in-law was actually a pastor for 50 years in Alabama, Arkansas area, all throughout the South. And it was really cool to be able to grow up in that environment. And so I was always in church as a kid, and when I was in 6th grade, I started to go to my new church that I basically call my home church now. My brother started going there a couple years before I did, and then he brought me along to be involved in a youth group. My old church didn't have a youth group, so it was cool to be involved. But the guy that invited my brother to church, to Central Christian Church, which is my home church in Bristol, Tennessee, the guy that had brought Chris there, which is my brother, he had gone to Johnson University because he was going to pursue ministry. I always wanted to go into ministry just like my grandfathers. I wanted to be able to do some incredible things just like they had done, partnering with God and what He was doing in their lives. So that's what I wanted to do. I came to Johnson University, which is an incredible ministry school. It used to be Johnson Bible College, but they wanted to add in a couple more degrees like business and health and fitness leadership and different things like that. So they made it a university so that they would be able to do some things like that. At Johnson, I study preaching and church leadership and preaching and youth ministry, and I'm actually about to finish up, like I said, in May, and then who knows what's going to happen from there. I may end up working in a church, or I may end up working in an organization. I don't really know what that looks like yet, and it's kind of scary as it's, right now it's December. You're probably going to see this video in January, so hopefully I might have some updates later on, and I'll update you about that. But who knows what's going to happen here in a couple months. I just know that I want to be able to do ministry, and I want to show Jesus to people, and I want to be in a job where I'm constantly able to participate in helping others and in reaching the lost. And one of the reasons I was inspired to go into ministry was because of my grandfathers, and I love that. Ever since I was little, I always wanted to do something. I always wanted to speak. I always wanted to do whatever I could so that I could help reach lost people and challenge and inspire and do those things so that people could have a better life than the one that they were already living. And growing up, I saw my grandparents, I saw them traveling around and speaking at conferences or speaking at churches and doing all those different things. And that's something that I've always wanted to do because I feel like it's an opportunity to be able to reach lost people. I've always been inspired by Billy Graham, who's one of the best and most well-known evangelist of all time. They would pack out stadiums to hear him preach Jesus, and over a couple million people came to know Jesus through his ministry, and they still come to know Jesus through his messages today because it's online. and because they can see these videos and see his recordings and all those things and hear the message that he had to preach to people about Jesus. And a lot of this happened because the Holy Spirit was involved. I mean, actually all of it happened because the Holy Spirit was involved. Billy Graham wouldn't have been as successful if he didn't have God inside of him, if he didn't have this Holy Spirit inside of him. But I was talking to my mentor, Bob, last year about it. He works for the Billy Graham Association. And I was saying, I would love to just have a little bit of the amount of impact that he had on this world, because he preached all around the world sharing the message of Jesus. But I started to think a little bit, and I started to think that maybe the days of packing out stadiums are over, just because people don't want to go to the stadium when they can watch it on video later. And people still go to concerts, yeah, they do all those things, but when it comes to packing out stadiums and doing all those things every single night, it's just not as likely now because of the age and because of where we live. And I started to think maybe video is the next stadium. I don't know. But I think it's such an incredible platform for us to be able to share the message of Jesus, to share just a positive message about the world that's a lot different than what we usually hear in our world today. We always hear so much negativity. We always hear so many bad things that happen in our world. And I just want to shed some light on this world so that we can have a better perspective and have a perspective where Jesus is actually the main focus. So that's one of the reasons why I'm starting this. And I told you a little bit about why I'm starting this last week, but I think it's just such an incredible thing to be able to do something with this platform, to do something with video that is actually really incredible and sheds light and challenges and inspires and helps people become a better version of themselves. So that's kind of who I am, and that's kind of what I've done with my life. I've grown up and I've seen my grandfathers be pastors, and that's something that I want to do for the rest of my life. I also want to do this video thing. I want to be creative. I told you last week that I did wedding videos and all that kind of stuff, couple photography, whatever. I love doing that too, but I think that this is an element to where I can bring in both of those passions into one thing, and I think that's really cool. I told you where I live. I told you where I live now. I told you where I go to school, and I told you that I don't know what I'm doing in a couple months, but hopefully there'll be some updates about that soon. I would love to have some updates about that, but I know God has a plan, and I'm excited to see what that is. So I hope that you like this video, and I hope that you will leave a comment below to tell me whatever you want to, really, but it helps me understand and interact with you all a little bit better. You can also go and subscribe on the channel, and there's a little bell down below. It might be on this side. I don't know, to be honest. But there's a little bell right beside the subscribe button that if you'll click that, it will remind you and send you a notification whenever I post a video, which will be every week, but it will also remind you, hey, the video's up, you should go watch it. If you haven't seen the video from last week, I hope that you will go back and watch that one before you watch the next couple. And I really appreciate you all watching, and I'm super excited to see where this journey takes us together.